Load up with me. Oh, we got yellow. We got yellow. That's good. Yes. We are live, it looks like. Let's verify. Awesome. And we have the new HD. That was a loud beep. And I don't know where it came from. So that's problematic. But other than that, how is everyone doing? Almost. There we go. There we go. Okay. Let's let up Youtuberg load up. With the beautiful, very loud music on my end, which I just realized was volume controlled on my end. You guys, I barely can hear the music. I'm just like, my ears. My ears are bleeding. But I totally forgot I cranked up the audio for speaker stuff on my end, so hopefully everyone can enjoy the higher quality of the stream. Pumping this out at whatever, 400, whatever, 144? 1,440. There we go. Load up 1,006 assets, guys. My little computer is just dying over here. Well, thanks to you guys. But we're green now, which that's good. That means everything's running smoothly there. I think it's going to be 16 gigs now, which means who knows how my computer's handling this stuff. But it's handling it. You find a mod that like partially loads up maps. Be like, I'm loading up just this area. Oh, remember when it used to only take 2 minutes 40 seconds? Those are good times. Those are great times. Eventually I'm gonna have to start loading those up like an hour before the stream, just so I can get it up and running by the time the stream starts. Oh. Hey Jaden! Hopefully it should be a higher quality. You should be able to go into your settings on the YouTube video and you can bump it up to 1,440. We couldn't get it to 4K, but got it up a little higher. Now you can see all the flaws and imperfections I can see. Which, in reality, I don't think is going to do anything because I think this outputs in 1080. But hey, you can task my computer to pull more data out of the air faster. Oh, cross your fingers, guys. Oh, it's slowly crawling now. It's crawling through. Got no errors yet, so we're good there. Ooh, my computer's not red yet, which is good. When my computer turns red is when I start worrying about its processing. But it's still like a orange, which is okay. We're just not gonna click anything, and it's just gonna, in like a 10-second period, it's gonna go doo-doo. Town's loaded. Oh, I'm waiting for the weird text to appear. When you're loading this big of an asset, it's just, it takes forever, guys. I'm sorry. I have to make note. I have to load it up 30 minutes before. Up, I heard noise. Up, weird text. That means we're in. Oh my gosh. The roads are still all messed up. But that's fine. I have no clue why these are blue. But we're good. We're gonna pause time real quick. Ooh. Because we got some lucky viewers to call out to. If I can remember where they are. As the game's still just crawling to load everything. It's like, what are you doing? Give me a second. Ooh. There we go. I believe this is, yep, Commander's Calls Pub. Let's see, we also got this one? Nope. This one, Zach's Breakfast. Very nice. We got Mountain Church, which is having 70 visitors every 20 minutes. We got the 6 Nights Residence, still growing up pretty nice and strong there. Okay, and I think we got yes we do. We have a Daniel here who can be shown off in all his wellness. He's well off right now, visiting the drive-in theater right over here. Look at that drive-in theater. Kind of wavy drive-in theater, but it's a drive-in theater nonetheless. Let's see, can we find Daniel? Daniel's right there in line. We could even spot from his point of view, watching the movies, I guess. So, that's nice. Okay. So, still at the blue road. We're just gonna have to deal with that. Okay, so we're actually ranking pretty close to the next level. So let's see, we got a traffic problem here. So the issue is a lot of people want to switch here, and they don't get the opportunity here. I wonder, can I? What if I give them? No, can I do this? I wish there was a way I could set priority. We'll do this. We'll do that. Does that solve my problem? Maybe that was the entire key to my problem. Is I had the wrong priority set. We'll find out. It all depends, does traffic flow at least out from here? Yes, because it seems to stop here. Oh no. A little. Okay, yeah. So it seems like once traffic starts getting busy, that extra road gets to flow. Yep, there we go. Perfect, we figured it out. We're just gonna keep playing around with that traffic circle over time. Give me a second to put my hands on the right keys. Okay, we also got this lovely place now, which I think we were gonna try to extend out through here so that we can get a nice little bridge and we get some traffic relief. So let's see, I think we were looking at how much that was gonna cost last time, and I was not happy with the price figure. But we'll try again and see what happens. So there's 3. I think we kind of want to just go straight across. I think if we could get it going straight across, even though I know that's not going to look nice in the grand scheme of things, I think it'd be nice.
Their mere existence transformed the landscape.
Yeah, because that's going to give it a nice appearance.
It's that legacy
we also
Dino Oil is proud to continue by using their eons old dead bone goop to fuel your 5-door wagon. making it the oldest form of recycling there is.
Nope, we're just
Dino
gonna...
oil.
I don't know
Embrace
how
the
to
power of bones.
increase the
Elle here. I have a question for you guys.
increase the
Do you ever
altitude,
wonder
because
how
it would be
the
nice if
mailman
that bridge
delivers
kind
mail
of
to
went
the whole city
upwards a
every
little,
day?
but hey.
And what about when the mail comes
Okay,
from another city and he has
so
to
we
go get it
need
before bringing it here? I can see why stamps are so expensive. Anyway,
some of that.
if you're listening, mailman, this one's for you.
We all want to be prepared.
And then
We
I
all
think
want
we're
to be
just
sure
gonna...
that the people we leave behind don't think we're jerks. That's where Final Insurance comes in. We provide peace of mind for when you rest in
I think
peace.
we're gonna try
For
to
a
keep
small
it at
monthly sum,
180.
you can spend your final years
But I
knowing
think
that
we
Final Insurance
ultimately
has
want it to
everything
turn
taken care
in
of. Final
and
Insurance,
become like
the last
that.
insurance you'll ever need.
That's
Last year,
$1,000
Horse
or
Economy 3 smashed PC sales
$10,132.
records and took the industry by storm.
So,
now the hit equine economic
as
simulator
time
is
goes,
new
we'll
expansion
keep doing
delves
that,
into
and then
the
we'll have a little
world
jet
of
off
real
coming
estate.
off the
Horse
highway.
Economy 3,
Which
stable
actually
markets. Can you work your way from
might
lowly
do
horse
that
to be the
one.
head of a major real estate empire? Can you spin your holdings?
And this is where I
into
wish I could
$1
just
billion?
save, like,
Can you work
this
your way under the
insertion.
fence and out of your pen and onto your life as a property mogul?
Yep, we got high density
Spreadsheets
zones,
have
that's
never
nice.
been
We're gonna
hotter.
build a city.
Pre-order now and get a free horse hat. Horse Economy.
I think we
3,
might,
stable
you can't see
markets.
where I'm
Buy
pointing.
low, sell high.
On the other side of the highway, I think we might put a city, a high density, like little pocket.
Welcome back. This is Elle, playing you the best music around. Don't go away because I'll be here pretty much all day.
We're losing money.
I hope they don't
We're
forget to
losing
bring my
money.
lunch
We
again.
need to figure out that beforehand. Okay, where are we losing money? Where can we add money? We need people. Okay. See, because we got pretty much every... Well, I guess we could start putting high density, but I'd rather not. I'd rather not have high density over here, but hey. If that's what it calls for. Okay, we'll build a small little pocket here. We want 2 lane and actually we're gonna build this that way and it's gonna go around, so let's actually do that. I think it's this road. Already occupied, already occupied, already occupied. I know it's already occupied, that's why I want to build on it. Okay. Let's see, can I do this one? No. Can I do this then? Yep. It just doesn't like that Dollar Tree being there. So we're gonna pause, we're gonna delete that. I didn't pause it. Been playing a different game for a little too long. I keep hitting buttons it's not supposed to be. Here we go. I think we'll build that out that way. And then we'll... These are 2 lanes. So it's that, so... Can I? Oh wait, that's a bad one. We don't want to delete that anyways. I guess we could put it here. Yeah, we'll just do it there. There we go. And then only because I don't have enough money now. Okay. Let's see, where does the water stop? Well, there you go. Let's hope that's enough to bring us some money. Nope, we're still losing money. Oh, this isn't good. Why are we losing money? What happened? Oh, you know why? I built that bridge. That bridge is gonna cost us. Oh, gotta increase this. You gotta increase this to stay afloat. Because we still got loans we gotta pay off. I'll build this little neighborhood out though, since I already started that. You know what? We'll make this like a little proper neighborhood. We might even put a school back here, depending on if we get enough population. Yeah, we'll put something back here. That's for sure. Right now we're just put houses. Just put some houses. That solves that problem. We're making tons of money now, so we'll continue looking for 10,500. And basically all we're going to do is loop this road to this road. And then let me check the this one, natural resources. So we got some forest back here, so we might actually make this into like a little farm area. Kind of like how we had here where they did all theirs. Is this still? Yeah, it's still that. So we might make this area into like a little farm area. I'm thinking from this rock down here, block it off, make it into a sort of farming community on the other side. This is going to most likely be our storefront district right here. And then I'm thinking community all the way around here, ending up with a big district here. Fire watchtower. I want to put it, but it's so expensive. Look how much it covers though. We would technically need it here though, because we need to protect the fires, forest fires there. But hey, right now we're trying to get something else right now. So I think we're getting there. I think it's time to finalize our goals. So we want this one. We want freeze version. We're gonna go right straight across. Up over this mountain. And we want it right around here. Yep. And then we'll drop it down into a nice little nope, okay. So we just do that. There we go. So, I think the community is going to be here. Actually, you know what? Maybe we're doing this. I don't have enough money. If we have trucks driving along it, that's cool. Let's hop into this truck and get a good view of this new walk. I mean, to me, I don't know about you, but this seems like a lovely drive. I mean, it's like a nice, like, boulevard. And what I'm thinking is it's going to loop all the way back around and connect to the other side. So that this is basically our main road. And everyone turns this way. Move down here. No turning right. Or no turning left. And then back on the highway. There we go. And we got traffic actually using it, which means we've relieved traffic on the traffic circle. In theory. In theory we have. So, that would be nice. Awesome. And you know, I might make the high density here right now. Are people actually getting off on this? It looks like they are. Are they actually like taking the other route? Let's see. No. People are just using it as a U-turn. Okay. That's fine. Okay. So I think we're gonna do very similar design here. I think this is going to be our high density community, which means they're going to need their own water, which is 3,500. They're going to need their own power system, or I'm going to have to route power. Let's see if we can route some power to them. Of course, you guys know, whatever power design I do is tournament. Unless I can justify a reason why they would delete it. So I need 2,000 some odd dollars. We're losing people by the hundreds. Why are we losing so many people? Power outage. Yep, that would explain it. Why do we have a power outage? Hi, Zach! Why do we have a power outage? That one's good. This one's good. So we're just out of power.
Can you hear
Lovely.
it? Listen closely.
We need power.
It's the sound of refreshment.
Can't get power until
soda
we get
refreshment.
19,000. So
Pop
hopefully
soda.
we just keep
Belch
the
the
money
best.
flowing upwards.
As
Oh,
I
look
go
at the
around
little
city,
power
I see people
grid.
doing so many interesting things. Driving, working, riding a bike, painting, eating a
Oh,
sandwich.
people are coming back
The
even though we
city
don't
has
have
a lot to
power.
offer. So what do you do while you listen to City's radio? Drop me a line and let me know. In the
You're in
meantime, let's
residential
play some more
zones.
music.
That sounds like a good
Does
idea,
it feel
except
like
I don't
to
have
drive
power,
a cloud?
so
What does it feel like to steer a river? What does it smell like to smell a mountain?
I wonder, can we
At Jubilee,
use one of
we're
these temp
committed
power
to letting you
stations?
do the
Ooh,
impossible.
windmills.
And now we've succeeded in
8.
letting you drive the undrivable. The Jubilee
5.
Dementia.
Let's do a windmill.
Car engineers said shouldn't be
Because
made.
that's gonna look,
Test drive
that's
one
gonna
today
give
and
our little
experience what
place
scientists for decades claimed was beyond the realm of safe driving.
markability.
Jubilee. Be reasonable or be fast.
I just don't know where.
Colossal Ore. We are the leading producer
Yeah,
of
let's put it on the
minerals,
new
ore,
side.
and natural resources, which means you're benefiting from our services whether you know us or not. No
Yep.
matter what our critics
Okay,
say, at
and then we
Colossal
just
we
need
care
some
about our employees as well as our
water on
customers,
this
which is
side,
why we work so hard
and
to
we
get
need some
our
power on this
miners
side.
back in the mines where they feel at home. Together, we can reunite minerals with the people who love them. Colossal Ore. More than ore.
just.
Hey listeners,
Oh,
you're
it's
tuned
already.
into Cities
We
Radio.
just literally
We've
have
got
to
the
just
best
pour it
music
up
from
a
anywhere in
little
the
bit
world.
closer.
It's actually really crazy if you think about it. How can we afford it? Anyway, we have a lot of great music for you coming up in between the commercials.
Did we solve our power issues? I think we did. Barely. 9. Okay, we consume. Yep, we just are barely under it. Awesome. I think we'll put another one down and get the money just to give it some characteristics. Put one right there. Yep. And then we'll have 2 windmill bridge. There we go. See, 2 windmill bridge. I love it. Right next to the sewer dump. Because you know what is going to be great on our brochures? Sewer next to 2 windmill bridge. For now, that works. Look at that traffic. We solve our traffic problems so quick. Like, because they can go up here and go right to the highway this way, they much rather drive that way. And we got people coming onto that highway too. And I don't think this is Mortar Street. I think this should be called, yeah, East Greenway, which means it's not connecting all the way. But that's fine. I can connect it. There we go. Now, we're getting them back up. We just had a power outage, but luckily 2 windmill bridge is gonna save us on that power outage. And also, I'm gonna move this little guy. I could do paths. Let's try path thing. I don't regularly do paths, but let's try it. Yeah, you can't. I can't remember how paths work all exactly. I don't want it to connect. Game, stop forcing me to connect it. There we go. There we go. Just in case you need to go to the power generator, you take this nice little pathway. Ah, dang it. Industry's dying. The one thing I didn't want to do, it happened. But oh yeah, we solved that traffic problem. Now there's like no traffic on that road. It's like, it's so good making this road so big and everything, trying to solve it. But we got a nice, like, bridge. Okay, let's see. We need water here. We need water and we need power, and that's what we were working on. We were working on how to get power there so we can make a high density neighborhood right here. Not SkyLines. What's the word? Skyscrapers, all right behind here. I think that'd look nice. This is eventually going to become all farm or deforestation industry. We're going to deforest this entire area. And then eventually this road will loop back around and connect here. And that will be the overall appeal of this side of town. But right now we're building up this town, which means next thing we need is power. that. Nice power line right down the street. Even crosses over on Main Street. It looks a little like real life. Crosses over on a highway. Beautiful. So now we just need water. Which I could pump, but I'd much rather actually have like a little pumping station. Okay, see you later, Zach. I think we'll put one. I think we'll put it on this side, since the residence is going to be on the other side. We'll put it right here. It's all fine, Zach. If we can get enough money to place this. Yep, there, right? So there's that. See, and because the highways, because it's like that, we can actually distribute our weight load. So a lot of traffic pours off here, but ultimately will go down here. Which in reality, I think I want it. Let's fix this up a little. Because I think this should be a turn only and this should be a right only. Because one should only be if traffic's turning, the other should be if traffic wants to turn or not. Yeah. That just increases the flow rate. Which increases the traffic, which will increase this area. Which we still have traffic coming through here. Okay. But hey, city's building. We have communities building up all over the place, so we're good there. Okay. This shouldn't need power. Really? I'm gonna be particular like that? Okay. Okay. So let's run some pipes down over here and down this. There we go. Let's see. We have high density. Yep, okay. We'll do high density all across here. Nope, we don't want that. We just want the first area here to be high density. And then the rest of here can be a nice more cityscape. And we'll connect to there. Yep, everything should be water. Everything should have water. Everything should have power. We should start seeing people move in by the dozens. Look at that. Look at that city growing. Now, little do they know, they're going to have to fight with this traffic to go to work and stuff, but the great thing is you're right off the highway, so plus minus there. Cool. Yep, and how's traffic down here doing? It's as hell as always. It's actually even more hell than always. Oh my gosh, let's fix this one up. This should be priority. This should be priority. Can I just have all of them be priority and it just work? Yeah. It looks like if I just... Well, actually, no. If we're gonna do that, let's just make them all stop. And then, boom. Now, it will always have flow because one will stop and then the other will go and then the other one will stop. And yeah, nice. This traffic circle is still getting blocked up, but hopefully better than before. We have another exit for them to take. This city is beyond built. Why are you telling me sewage is backed up? Is all sewage filled? All sewage is filled. Okay. Oh no, it's not connected to any sewage. Oopsies. You know, the little mistakes of like giving people sewage. Okay. So let's see. Can we do what we did before on this side? No, it doesn't look like it. Yay, you're back! We're trying to give people sewage, but I think it's just gonna be, this is just gonna be a lot of sewage area. Which means there's no point in not connecting the two, so we just connect the two. Give more people water, give more people sewage. Hopefully that resolves the sewage problem there. Yep, cool. So this is a high density area. We already got shops being built, we got skyscrapers and all that for our residents. Yep. This sewage is all over the place. This bridge you just don't want to drive on, really. Like, these landmarks, beautiful for pictures, but just don't anchor your picture anywhere near the sewage, and just hold your breath forever. Okay, good, good, good. Awesome. Traffic circle is going decent. Cool. I'm gonna keep playing around with this city over here. I'm gonna make this highlights. Okay, so we got 2 lanes. They're gonna drop down to a 1 lane. And because it's a city, we're gonna add biking lanes because why not? 30 that way. I think we're gonna make a curved road going out 30. But it's gonna curve kinda like that. Yep, I like it. There we go. Now we need our water to go here, and water to go here. Again, high density all the way around. High density everywhere. Everywhere you can put a house, put one. There we go. So this is going to be our new neighborhood. We got this neighborhood back here, which was nice. Nice and large neighborhood. I think I was gonna put a score, so let's try to see. Their education for elementary is satisfied. How about high school satisfied? So in reality, we just need one here. So let's put it right here. Satisfy all those people with school requirements. Because you don't need, school is more important than crime. Crime control? Nah. Schools are where it is. I think we'll continue putting the road here. Yeah. We'll continue that and then mark that as high density. Water down here. And then we're gonna have some backways. Yep, there we go. And of course, all that's gonna be high density. It needs water. Just connect right back up to the water plant. I love how this is going. I think we're gonna smooth out that turn. Aw, why couldn't you? Yeah, that looks a little bit better. A little bit more natural. Oh yes, there we go. Now we're making money back. We got individuals going down this pikeway. Catch him. Look at this pike. All the way down. This actually doesn't look too bad. Except when you remember that the bridge is sewers, so hold your breath. Oh yeah, this doesn't look bad at all. To the bridge. And the sewers on both sides.
Lights,
Came
camera,
right
move.
into New
There's
Jersey.
nothing like
Whoops,
watching a
sorry.
movie to take you to another place or time, and there's no better place to watch than
But yeah, that
Jersey.
looks great.
And no better time than the time it takes you to get from where you are to where we are. You'll break
The traffic
box office
seems a
records
lot
of fun this
slower
Take a trip
now.
to Tinseltown, Movieville, USA. Action
Let's
cut right on the set.
stop and go traffic.
Guaranteeing the only thing you hear is the movie. That high-pitched shuttle drone is normal. It's the sound your ears hear when there's nothing for your ears to hear here. So come on down and enjoy the movies where everyone's a star.
Yep, this looks great.
Hello, I'm Elle at Cities Radio, and I just wanted to thank you for taking a break from listening to all the other sounds of the city.
So this is a
You know,
lot of
the honking,
traffic.
barking, yelling, and chirping to listen to the true
Yeah,
sounds
this
of
is
the
a lot
city
of
right here
traffic.
on Cities Radio. We'll be
Which
playing
I can't
the best music
easily
around the globe
explain,
all
but it's a
afternoon.
lot of traffic.
So stay where you are and don't go away. Say cheese, it's Cheese Week at Big Bite Burgers and Fries. All this week, in addition to our regular menu, try our all-you-can-eat
I think it's
signature
primarily
salads like
because
our
it's an
famous bowl
out.
full of
Whoa!
melted cheese, served steamy
I
and
didn't know
bubbly.
the
It's the
car was
finest
gonna go
yogurt
into the
or
other
our
one,
New
but hey.
Orleans-inspired pork sandwich, the
I think
big
the
cheesy
primary
Wonder
reason there's a
signature
lot of
flagship,
traffic
the
is because it's
spicy
an
blue cheese
outway
topped
like this.
jalapeno cheese blucher. So hurry in and get them while they last. After all, why take a little bite when you can take a big bite? This is Cities Radio,
Oh,
the
yeah,
best
this looks
music
nice.
in the universe.
Cool. Cool. We fixed a bunch of things. We even got a ton of money now. So, I think we might try to connect these two. Actually, no. We got industry buildings, so let's actually mark up a new district. We're gonna take this district. It's gonna lead up to about here. I want all of this to be deforestation. Let's do it right up there. And we're gonna, nope, industry, forest industry. Thank you. And we'll just start building all this up. I think that's where... Nope. Oh my gosh. It's all the way up to the intersection. I thought it was not all the way up to the intersection, but hey. I guess all the way up to the intersection then. There we go. Just so that we have some nice industries here, keeping jobs flowing, especially since we got a lot of residents here that are going to be eventually working in places like that. And pipe off, ooh, off like that. Hey. We could do it like that, but that'd be really odd. So we're going to do it more like that. And of course, all big homes. I wonder, can we do what I want, or is it not going to work? That's where I want it. I get one. No. We just go like that. That'd be fine. And straight on. There we go. And of course, high density all right here. There we go. Oh, look at that traffic. Traffic build up. Lovely. So, in reality, we can solve this traffic actually quite easily. Because either you're coming off the highway to go into the city, or you're coming off the other way to turn around. Pretty self-explanatory. But now you won't have them butting heads 90% of the time. And this is a city. This is our first actual city, guys. I definitely think we need to earmark that, but for now, we got deforestation, or not deforestation, but forestry locations right along here, which that would be nice. Hopefully the ones out here on this outskirts can catch some of them. Oh my gosh, we have a huge traffic problem. Well, I guess because we changed the flow, this should be primary and this should be yeared now. Since we changed the flow, that was the issue. Because now we're not getting as much throughput flow. So, oh my gosh, but there's backup over here too. Oh my gosh, where's all the backups going? Where are they going? They're all leads to an Amish driver, okay. It's just a series of really good timed Amish people. Okay, so this is a cut through, and I don't like cut throughs because it's hard to maintain, and this is a busy cut through. So let's see if we can optimize this cut through any. So a lot of people on this side are going straight. So that's actually not too bad. So a lot of people on this side are going straight. So you're either gonna get in the lane you're in, or you're gonna go straight. One or the other. These people seem to all be turning, and these people seem to only be going straight. They're either going straight or turning this way. So we'll keep them like that. So you're either going to turn onto this road, or you're gonna go straight. And I'll let them choose which road they want to pick on that one. So there's that. Okay. Right now we have no problem, so we'll keep working on this. You're gonna either go this way or you're gonna go straight. You're gonna go straight or you're gonna turn this way. You're gonna either go this way or straight, and this one's gonna be a turn on. Okay. Now once this 18-wheeler figures out which way he's going, traffic should flow smoother now. Still a lot of traffic on this one road. It might be time to make a roundabout. We'll find out. We'll watch it for a quick second, see if we can make it a roundabout. Nope, I think it's gonna need to be a roundabout. It's just too much flow traffic to gather nicely, so we're gonna have to actually make a roundabout. That sucks, because this is all gonna get destroyed. Alright, luckily I don't think this is anyone's personal stuff. Nope, okay. So we're gonna pause it here. We're gonna demolish this area and create a nice roundabout. So we're gonna demolish that road, demolish that road, demolish that road. These buildings are gonna disappear. This road's gonna disappear. And we're gonna create a roundabout. Now I could use this, but I have noticed one thing about that is it's good at creating roundabouts, but it doesn't tell you the deep dark secret that it doesn't actually use your finances to create said roundabouts. So we're gonna just create one ourselves. I'm gonna start here, go up 5, over 5, start here, go up 5, over 5, up 5, over 5, up 5, over 5. There we go, nice roundabout. Okay. So now we have to connect some lanes, and that's going to be the fun part. Okay. First easy part is taking this road, because this road was parallel with it anyways. The 2-lane road, done. Done. That was easy. The other one is going to be this one. It's a 2-lane road, done. So now the tough one is going to be this one, because it's an avenue like this. And it wants to continue this way, but can we get it to curve inwards? And can we get it to curve in at a degree that is like normal? That's as close as I think we're gonna get. Same here, wants to go this way, but we're gonna get it to go to a degree that's normal. Okay. Okay, so that mess is a mess now. So we're gonna put a street here, 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 here. I think we're gonna do industry inside. Actually, no, I know what we'll put here. Put one of these guys here. Because this guy will watch no force. Let's see, can we put high school? Can we put a high school here? No. public library? Definitely not. Can we put a depot? That'd be interesting. Even if it's a taxi one? Nope, okay. Could do a metro. Don't got the funds for that. We could put a park. I don't really want to put a park there. Just a sauna. Come to the traffic circle sauna. We hear all your rooms. Incinerator. Let's make everyone angry. Yeah. Let's not put that. Put that there, but I guess I've been in cities like this, and it would fit, and it would look kind of cool. So I guess we will put one in. Because I guess that would work. Okay, so put some housing. Oh, no, you're not housing. Or some of you are housing. Or actually, no. None of you are housing. We're gonna put shops here. And we'll put little shops around here just to kind of round it off. There we go. Let's see. Can we do that? As traffic confuses itself. So we still have this issue, and this issue is going to be a hell. So what we really want is through fail. So if we can get it where they always flow and they yield. They yield, they flow. They flow, they yield. And we'll do their flow, their yield. Let's see, does that give us the traffic we want? Basically, if you're in the circle, you stay in the circle. If you're out of the circle, you are kind of stuck for a while. Now we need this to yield. Or we need that to flow, so the other one has to yield. So we'll do that. And we'll do that to stage it. And traffic is just gonna look like a mess here. As everyone queues up. But we made a new traffic circle. Nice. Scarlet Street traffic circle. And I think that's what else we can do. I think we actually can get both of these to flow how we want. We just say, you're going this way, no matter what. You're going this way, no matter what. And these two lanes will always join this way, no matter what. Yep, there we go. Look at that flow. Oh, we got traffic here now. Traffic problem here. The flow's too good. Nope, I think we're good. I think it was just the Amish. Yep, look at that flow now. And we got people are headaches, so let's see if we can fix that real quick. It's actually not too bad of a headache, but it would be nice if we had a little pedestrian path right through. Nope, we can't. Okay. It'd be nice, but we can't. Okay. Cool. So there we go. We just made another traffic circle. It literally is right off of one, but this traffic was getting too heavy for our liking. So now it's not too heavy. Now it flows pretty smoothly. We got fire issues. Do we have somebody coming to rescue? No. We have traffic issues here though. And I don't know how to solve this one. This one's just too much. There's just too much flow. Let's see. Maybe we do something similar. We have this always an outdoor. This always an outdoor. And we'll make this an optional in. And then these two will always be flowing out. Does that resolve it? Yeah, it looks like that is resolving it. Now, of course, we're going to put more flow on the other side, but hey, at least we have constant flow. I think that resolves it. Huge fire. Uh-oh, that's not good. That is definitely not a good sign. So now we have trash and water. Okay, let's fix the water because water is easy. We just add them there, add you there. So we forgot that you guys might need water. Along with you all. There we go. Let's just add water down that way. And because we have water already going that way. Cool. And because we already know that this is all going to be industry, let's just add it. Actually, oh, we might have not wanted to do that. It might have been better to put this here, but hey, we'll put one on each side. There we go. Everyone loves trash. Now we can easily empty this trash. Which again, not solving this traffic problem. Okay, we need to figure out this traffic problem. In reality, it's a heavy traffic area. We got traffic coming both directions. We got traffic coming down here. So, it's just a lot of traffic. Okay. We'll let you choose your route. You are always gonna go that way. Or you're gonna go straight.
Yakisoba, the noodle masters.
Or
No
this.
matter what stage of life you're in, we have the perfect noodles for you.
We're gonna
From
always go
birthday
this
noodles
way.
to wedding
Or
noodles,
straight.
all the way to
You're
those
gonna either
most
turn
final of noodles.
or straight.
Every
And
occasion
you
has
get
a
the
noodle
choice
like
of
yakisoba,
1,
so experience
2,
something different.
or 3.
Yakisoba.
Let's see.
It literally means fried noodles.
Hello, I'm your host, Elle, and you're listening to Cities Radio. Sometimes I like to check our listener emails and see what people are talking about. Here's one. Elle, what are you doing this weekend? Well, I don't have any plans really. I think I might go to the zoo again and try to communicate with the animals. Last
Okay,
weekend, I was
think
close to
this
a
is a
breakthrough,
better
but a cow kept telling me
traffic
to move and I
flow.
lost my place. So what are you listeners going to do this weekend? Drop us a line and let us know. Maybe I'll see you there.
Yeah, it looks like it's
Colossal
flowing
Ore.
better.
We are the leading producer of minerals, ore, and natural resources, which means you're benefiting from our services whether you know us or not. No matter what our
Okay.
critics say,
And
at
how about
Colossal,
over
we
here? Is
care
this
about our
flowing?
employees as well as our customers.
It is, it's just
which
there's
is
so
why we work
much
so
traffic on
hard
this
to
road.
get our miners back
Whoa,
in the
there's so
mines
much
where they
traffic.
feel at home. Together, we can reunite
already
minerals with the
sorted
people
that one
who
out.
love them. colossal ore. More than ore.
I think we could actually
It's
solve
Super
this
Salmon
one.
Days down at Fish Brothers.
I
For
think
a limited
we
time, bring in any fish and
put
get a
this as a
chilled salmon
year.
entree free. You heard
Year.
right. Bring in any fish and get
Stop
a
and
free
stop.
chilled salmon entree. And I mean any fish. Got a swordfish lying around? Bring it in. Got a goldfish you're sick of feeding? Bring it in. Got a fish that's been sitting in the sun for a few days? Bring it in. We'll
Because
throw
now
it in with
traffic
the
will
rest of them. What we
continue
do with the fish is
flowing.
nobody's business but ours. Just enjoy your salmon, $8.99 with our famous stew. So, welcome on into Fish Brothers Seafood Themed Restaurant, where everything's a great catch. Except the shrimp.
This is Cities Radio. I'm Elle. You know, like the letter.
Except I don't know if the yields are gonna actually yield correctly. No, it doesn't look like it is. There's just so much input into the system, not enough output. It's literally, if you want to go across this highway, it just sucks. And it's because it's a cut through. Cuts through suck. Nope, not gonna work. Okay, let's figure this out. Let's turn the traffic lights back on. Traffic lights are nice, they increase the flow, but the issue is they, if not properly controlled, you get stuff like this. There's just too much traffic on this road. I might not let cut-throughs through on this road. We might just not let that happen. You might be able to turn left or right, but not cut through. Let's see how that works. Does that solve the majority of this traffic problem? Yeah, it looks like it's solving it. Because now you're not getting anyone like stuck in the middle of the highway when they're doing their stuff, except people who are turning like that. We might not be able to solve this one. This might become a traffic circle as well. Which sucks because it's near everything. It's a really hard one to solve though. And it's, you know why it's hard? Not 3 lanes. Because we remember we couldn't move this. So you get all these people trying to squeeze in 2 lanes, which can't possibly happen unless there's a nice flow here. Which I guess we can do that. We can make this a nice flow. Make that a yield. Make that a yield. So now you get a constant flow out. Yep, I think that works. Because now, anytime you get traffic going through, it can go right on through. Yep, that seems to have solved that. We have fire. Do you have a fireman coming to you? Yeah, he's just taking this way. Oh my gosh, you're gonna die. You're just gonna die. He has to get all the way through that road and then all the way up here. You're gonna die. Where did that fireman came from? There's no fire department on this road, is there? No. You're just gonna die. Give up on it. But in your honor, I think I'll place another firehouse right here. Just because it seems like there's a fire issue. I did get there. Oh yeah, my windmill. Like, why does my camera keep jumping up? They did put it out. That's amazing. We have a power outage issue too. It's not one thing, it's another with you guys. Okay, we'll put it, actually we'll put it, no, we want it right before the traffic comes. We just need a couple more thousand, guys, and then you'll have power forever again. So how's everyone doing this weekend? As we're trying to solve one problem after another, you know. Yes, I know my city needs power. I know my city needs power. Actually, I think we're gonna put it here. Oh my gosh. As I solve one traffic problem, I create a billion more. Okay, we have a huge problem here. We have an influx of outgoing people down this road. So let's solve this real quick. First things first, can we upgrade the road? Hopefully we can. How do I subtract myself? There we go. There we go. Hopefully having twice the number of people leaving will resolve this part of the traffic flow problem. Oh my gosh. Or at least it pushes it. It pushes it onto this side. Which I think this side is a little bit better equipped to handle the influx of flow. Okay, so now we'll do this, fix this side up, that one's all turn over, I'll cut through, and this one can decide. There we go. I think that will resolve that problem. Citizens are sick. Yeah, we might want to put a hospital over here. It might be time to put a hospital. But yeah, that traffic flow is a lot better. Now, outgoing over here doesn't look like it's too bad. It looks like it kind of just flows from one end to the other. And in reality, that's the issue. Is most of the people on this side are trying to get on this side. That's the real issue. So how do we resolve that? Well, we could make a bridge. I like the idea of just making a nice little bridge across. We could go under, but I'm much I'd rather the over bridges. And I'm thinking right here. Or not. Can I not put a bridge? Yeah, I was like, I should be able to install a bridge right here. Now, here might be a tough part. But that's only because it's not thinking with exceptions. Why were it let me put one there but not there? Space is occupied already? Okay. I guess we'll put one here then. Okay. And then we'll have it drop down. Oh, I had it. We want 10 and we want the height to be there. And the same here. We'll have it drop down. This one go right through the city like that. There we go. So now we can carry some of that through traffic across the bridge here. Which that will be nice. That will carry some nice repercussions. We can put all that as heavy. We can make all this industry. In reality, I think we're just gonna make this entire section right here industry. Oh my gosh. What happened to our death care? All 10 horses are in use. That's insane. You're saying our death care is that busy? It's all this build up right here. Why is there so much build up in the city I worked so hard for? Okay, I need traffic manager. Let's see. No. You guys can go whenever you guys want to. You guys are on the traffic circle. You guys are fine. we go. Hopefully that resolves that build up. We got build up here too. Or is this temporary? It's all that cut through. Yeah, the timing's way off for that cut through stuff. Or is it? No, it seems to just be a one-off case. Okay. Because regularly it pushes that traffic through. Okay, good enough. This traffic is incredibly stressful. I don't even know how I resolve this. Oh yes I do. You know what we can do? We can resolve this quite easily. We just up these roads. There we go. Flow, traffic flow. There we go. Now they should have some time to move. Are they not ever gonna move? I'm gonna have to put a stop there.
Fuel of the modern economy. The age-old Italian tradition of burning beans and drinking the bitter bean juice. At Burn Bean Coffee, our environment is perfect for all of your work needs. There's no better place to be distracted.
It's just so much traffic right now to flow through. Okay, they're done with their flowing, so hopefully they can start their flowing through.
Coffee-themed drinks just as you like it, all while generally making more noise than anyone could reasonably ignore. So drink it and let the productivity flow. Sippy sip coffee fans, Burn Bean Coffee. Get it while it's hot. Due to recent court actions, we are required to warn against drinking coffee.
And Daniel's just moving on with his life. We haven't been following him too well, but he's been pumping through his life pretty quickly. There we go. Look at that flow now.
So what do you do while you listen to Cities Radio? Drop me a line and let me know. In the meantime, let's play some more music.
Gaze at a gazelle. Lock eyes with a lemur. Shake hands with a turtle. At the City Zoo, you can experience the wild in our wildest exhibition yet. Come down this weekend to meet our newest addition, a three-toed sloth named Barbara. She'll hook you with her smile and hook you again with her curved toes used to grasp trees in the wild.
My God.
After that, take a gander at another new species, a new type of bird previously identified as a different type of bird due to a zoological error. Fun for the whole family. Book now and get a free handful of pellets to feed the fish. Limit 4 per family while supplies last. We'll look forward to seeing you where the animals live in rooms painted to look like home. The City Zoo.
I do not know.
At Akio, we've been making the best in mobile phones for over 20 years. How did we get there?
Everyone either is coming out of that
ringtones in every commercial that make you think your
so let's
phone's ringing.
see. Yeah, a bunch of people coming in this way.
Or just leave it on vibrate.
A few people coming out this way. So I think this road's gonna need to get full.
It's our way of saying, we hear you. So don't be silenced when opportunity calls, pick it up. It's for you. Akio Mobile.
I can't have uneven.
This is Cities Radio, home of music.
I can't even have uneven. Oh, yes, I can. There we go. Oh no, I don't need flipped. I actually need. No, I think I need flipped. Yeah, it's compressing. It's a compression issue. Right? Oh my gosh. This is too problematic. I mean, things are moving, at least, but man, is it like... It's hell. Don't come down this street ever. Okay, we need to figure something out. Let's downgrade this real quick. So we can keep track of where our guys are. Oopsie. Didn't mean to flip it. I mean, maybe that's the correct solution, but I don't think so. Yeah, I know we're gonna lose a lot of traffic here, but I just need to see where everyone's going. Me flipping it was not the correct solution. Okay, so everyone seems to be wanting to get off out of here. Out of here or down there. So, okay. So no. Me flipping it was not the correct solution. Don't flip road. That was me pressing the wrong button. Okay, yeah. That looks like what it wants. Is everyone wants to either they want to go back down this way or out on the highway. Okay, so I think I know what I need to do. Let's go. Upgrade these again. Oopsie, I don't want to do that. Yeah, sure, I'll upgrade that one as well. There we go. So now, everyone wants to either go on the highway, they either want left or they want right. So we got two places where people come in. And three places where people come out. Right? Yeah. Okay, so I think we want a 3-lane road here. And then I'll sort out the rest. Okay. Need to return to a door, right? Thank you. Okay, so let's sort out the rest here as best we can. So we got 2 lanes coming in. Oh my gosh, this is a mess. We got 2 lanes coming in, one there and one there. We got 1 lane coming out. Right? No. We got 3 lanes coming in. That's problematic. Because we also got 3 lanes wanting to keep going straight, too. Which, that's a huge problem. Because that doesn't relieve any of our traffic. Okay, so let's see, maybe we could fix it here. We got 1 lane coming out. And we got 2 lanes coming through. And then here, we got 2 lanes coming over, which we'll keep. We'll keep this guy going through. One here, and one here. And only because it seems like traffic is light here. Okay, same here. We got 2 lanes coming in. And we'll keep 1 to be our carry through. 2 lanes coming out. And of course, 1 to be our through. Same here. We actually got only 1 coming in. So we'll actually let this one kind of decide whichever way it wants to go. 2 coming across here. And then 1 coming over. And then we still got this issue. But everything else is flowing, which is where I wanted. Everything's flowing. Now, here's the issue, is everyone wants to go that way. So, we did do this one right. We wanted it to be a 3-lane. Now, of course, because it's a 3-lane, we really don't want any traffic, if any, to be turning that way, because we want all our new people to get on board. And then, because it's 3 lanes here, we want 1 lane to be dedicated turn on lane, 1 lane to be dedicated straight, 1 lane to be optional straight. Of course, here we want dedicated turn, dedicated straight, or turn. Oopsie. So you could turn around too, but hey. And this one we want it to be turn. And this one we want it to be turn. Does that solve that problem? We'll find out once this traffic sorts itself out, because this traffic's all built up until it gets to here, which means I think this needs to be a throwaway as well, and this can be a here. And this needs to be a pass-through. It's too many people. Too many people, too many trucks, too many vehicles. I really liked that loop idea we had, and it was cool, it was fun, but man, is the traffic it's causing is insane. All these people are waiting to turn, and they either turn left or turn right. Yay. I think we're going to dictate some movements here. I think the first thing we're going to do is remove cut-throughs. So it's either turn left or turn right, and it's just that. The next thing is I think we're going to actually turn traffic lights back on, just to even the flow. Why does everyone want to be on this outer line? Because I bet they all are going out. Yep, I'm sure that it's all because they all want to go out. I'm almost certain that's the reason. Yep, there we go. They all wanted to leave. Okay. So that resolves that issue. That resolves that issue. We're back to this issue again. There's so many people who want to not go through the circle. Can I wish there was a way I could be like, only certain vehicles can make this weird turn. Because they're deciding to do this. Even though it might actually be a better option to go the other way, they're deciding to make this weird turn. Also, can I... Yeah, priority always. I don't know why it would only be priority always, but hey. You also got a ton of people here. Maybe cut the people down. Also, this should be 2, right? We got tons of people, and we got this problem, we got that problem, and we just got problems. I bet that solves the majority of our problems. Because now... Let's see how that works with that flow. You know, this entrance is backwards. And I don't know if there's a way I can flip it. Because it really should go the other way. It should be I turn right, turn back around, and turn around. But I don't think there's an easy way to flip that. Okay. So I see another problem. We got a lot who want to turn this way. Which is fine, except we have traffic going the other way. But a lot of people want to turn that way, and it's only a one-lane road. So maybe that's what we need to do. We need to upgrade this road. Of course, we're going to carry it all the way down. There we go. We still have a death issue, but hey. We also have a water issue. Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Yeah, I see the water issue. We're also having a health issue. Federal. Luckily that should be able to be solved real quick or something like that. Go, hospital! Go. Actually, I put it on the wrong side because that's just going to increase traffic. Can I relocate? I want it on that side. Because all that's going to do is increase overall traffic. Because now every medical device, every medical team has to go through here. Loop all around for whatever reason because they can't take that exit. Which I wonder, is that my issue? Can they not take that exit? Is that invalid path? Hopefully not. No, that guy just did it, so no. Okay. They just decide they want to ruin traffic for me. That's all they wanted to do is flash their lights to take up as much traffic as they can. There we go. Go, ambulance team. Wee. There we go. Go help the sick people.
Pernu apparel. Italian leather. Italian threading. Pernu is Italian for jean jacket. We take the second best of Milan and with an appropriate markup, bring it to you.
Okay.
Just because you don't have taste
Hopefully that solves that
doesn't
problem.
mean you
Now,
shouldn't have
death.
hands. New apparel.
Death and sickness.
Clothes, but
Do
not
we have a
blood.
pollution problem? Because it seems like I have a
Haven't you been
pollution
hearing more
problem,
about
but
disasters lately? I'm not
Where's
sure
my
if it's just me,
pollution?
but I feel like meteors and sinkholes just didn't happen as much when I was younger. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention. One time, the street behind my house just disappeared. It was there one day, then gone the next. The weird thing was, nobody seemed to want to talk about
I'll
it.
move it.
Maybe
I'll
it was
move
too
it over
scary.
here.
Actually, if things can just disappear randomly, maybe I can disappear. That is scary. I need to play another song.
Lights,
Did
camera,
that solve
movie.
that pollution?
There's nothing like watching
Yeah.
a movie to take you to
Okay,
another
so we
place
had
or
a
time.
pollution
And there's
problem.
no better place to watch than
Okay,
Dome
now the
Cinema.
question is
And
our
no
death
better time than the
problem.
time it takes you to get from where you are to where we are. You'll break box office records of fun as you take a trip to Tinseltown Movieville, USA. Action, cut, quiet on the set. Our theaters feature noise absorbing.
And we'll take out these three houses to hopefully solve our death
That
problem.
high-pitched shuttle drone is normal. It's the sound your ears hear when there's nothing for your ears to hear here. So come on
Hopefully
down
that
and enjoy
solves
the
our
movies
death
where
problem.
everyone's a star.
I actually do not know why our death problem
Colossal Ore.
is so
We are the
crazy.
leading producer of minerals, ore, and natural resources, which means you're benefiting from our services whether you know us or not. No matter what our critics say, at Colossal we care about our employees as well as our customers, which is why we work so hard to get our miners back in the mines where they feel at home. Together, we can reunite minerals with the people who love
It's
them.
traffic.
Colossal Ore.
It's insane.
More than ore.
I
Hey
think
listeners,
it's just...
you're tuned into Cities Radio, where we've got the best music
How do I
from
do this
everywhere in the
time
world.
stuff? We're
It's
gonna
actually
see.
really crazy if you
I'm gonna
think about
hope
it.
this
How
works
can we
this
afford it?
time.
Anyway, we have a lot of great music for
Oh,
you coming
both
up
of
in
these.
between the commercials.
I'm gonna pause time real quick so I can get this all working. Okay. So we want to add a step. And this step is the green on both sides, stop on both sides. Which would be green on these sides, stop on this side. And the max time we'll do 60, min time we'll do 30. Add. Now we're going to add another step where we stop both of these sides, flow both of these sides, and same here. We flow both of these sides and stop both of these sides. And it will be like that. Will it actually work? We're gonna find out, but it looks like it's gonna. Can I show counters? Because I want to know what's the countdown. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, start kicking it off on the other side. Okay. We still have the issue of everyone wants to be in this line for whatever reason. Why does everyone want to be in this line? We're going to find out here. 5, 4, 3. Kick over. There's no good reason everyone wants to be in that lane. It doesn't solve any problem for them. They are going to the same location. Okay, but it seems to be working, so we're going to pause it here. We're going to stop the timers. We're going to delete both ones. We're going to add a step. And we're going to change the mode. Because we're going to actually go really in depth into into this. And if this works, I think this is going to be the last bit of the stream. Because, oh my gosh, we are going way in depth into this for no good reason. Okay. So, first step. These all can go that way because they're both one lane. Fine. Actually, let's fix all this. Let's all red. We're gonna all red. And we're gonna do a 4-stage, I think. So we're gonna look at it this way. And I want traffic to flow up. It can go over to the right, but it can't go left. Here I want left, but it can't go right or forward. Here I want it to go forward or left, and here I want it to go right. Okay? To get that traffic flowing. Here, so if it's flowing in, so this one needs to stop. So we're going to have this one go left, or forward and left. This one can go forward and right. This one can go left. And this one can go right. Yes. So right might always be green. I think. We'll find out. Okay. So there's that. Add that. Now next step, we want flow traffic. So flow that way. We want no flow. Flow. No flow. And left is gonna get hung. Because we want flow, flow, no flow, no flow. Let's see if that works. Oh, I think it will. First, this is all stopped. So, there's flow. Nope. I messed up. Okay, I need to go to timed. Okay. I need to stop this. This is bad. We just delete. I wish there was a way. Remove. I might do it, guys, just to resolve some problems. Now, let's watch this craziness unfold. See, because it starts out well. And we have traffic flowing down here. So that's not horrible. But then traffic starts piling up. But again, it doesn't seem to be stopping, it's just a lot of traffic. Like, it's just a lot of traffic, like, you're just always gonna have that. Can I? Is it options? I think I have an option that might be causing it. Advanced AI. Good. what is it? No. No, no, no. Let's see. Does that resolve that problem or no? Nope. Gridlock. Again. Oh my gosh. We're so close to 10,000 too. Oh. Even here's gridlock. I think we have a problem, guys. And I don't know how to solve it. Or I know what I need to solve here. And I know one way of solving it, but it doesn't solve all the problems. Because if there's no... Oh, there is an outro, but it leads here, so... It's really these two roads right here. They're the issues. I think these two roundabouts are just too close. Let's just have a good laugh. What's our traffic? 48. And it's all right here. Because I'm almost on here's pretty traffic. But this one's fine. It's just flowing. It's flowing all fine. I guess here's not. Here's it kind of stuck. But I'm pretty sure I can fix that. By just going, you go, you. Because you're coming off the highway, you're coming through the highway. Why do you guys still stop? Stop stopping. There we go. It's almost like there's a traffic light here. Happy? We just add a traffic light. Solve all problems. I know how we do this. Or do this. Add step. You're green always. You're stop. And this will be the 60-90 ratio. Add step. You stop. You green. This will be 30, 60. See, they still stop, and I don't know why they stop. There we go. Yeah, just keep driving through. I have no clue why they stop. As you see, I've given up completely on the other side of this thing. I don't need a 3-lane, but hey, I'm gonna go 3. I wanted more 2, but hey. build up a little bit. But by the time it starts building up, it kicks over and lets them go. There we go. Now it's gonna kick over again. Let traffic build up a little bit there. I have no clue what's going on there, but hey, it works. Right? Is it gonna kick over? Now we got 15 more seconds. And gives them enough time to get that solid flow. And there's enough backlog here that they can just start flowing out the cars, but it's fast enough that they're not stuck sitting there forever. There we go. And of course, 15 extra seconds just to make sure there's enough traffic on the highway. Yeah, good enough. Hi, Walker boy. Look at that burning building. I'm pretty sure fire is never gonna get there though. Okay, we have a traffic problem if you don't realize from the tone of my voice. And it's all right here. And I have no clue on how to resolve it. And we're just gonna let it be what it is right now. I'm gonna go through, and most likely we're getting close to the end of the stream anyways, but yeah, huge traffic problem. I'll eventually resolve it. I just have to think. Luckily we got tons of money. It just means we might have to revamp this road. Which means I have no clue. Because right now the issue is a lot of traffic for whatever reason decides to go through here and theoretically should all go up here, but instead somehow it also goes down here. I guess I could make it all one way and make it all go up here.
Coffee. Fuel of the
But I don't like that idea because that really segments the town. So I don't know. We know what our issue is. We know what our problem is. The question is, can it get resolved? And I think the correct answer is no. Youtuberg might stop here. Or buy another land here and start building it up. And we let it be what it be. But that's going to be another time. I hope everyone's having a good night. I'm kind of angry because I really thought I solved this problem. I think the issue is I should not have built this second traffic circle. I think that's the main issue. Is that second traffic circle gave them too many options to go down, which now means lock up everything.
The weird thing was, nobody seemed to want to talk about it. Maybe it was too scary.
So yeah.
Actually, if things can just disappear.
Other than that, I hope you all have a good night. I will be getting off and see you tomorrow at 5:45. We're gonna most likely try some randomized Zelda since we got a test stream working Friday. So we'll most likely get that working and up and running to actually be a series this time, so a partial series. But
construction
bye for
site.
now.
In the meantime, you'll
Bye-bye.
have all the fun that bowling can provide. So come on.